My beloved child, I invite you to pause amid the hurried rhythm of this world to listen to my whisper within your heart, a whisper filled with grace in the midst of your trials. Before you may lie a space of chaos, unclear, confusing, and at times seemingly without a way out. Yet trust me, this is the refining season heaven uses to purify your soul and lead you to the place I have long prepared. Let me take you through the story of this season so you may understand that being chosen does not mean being spared from hardship. It means walking through it to be positioned for divine timing. Do you remember those moments when everything seemed to fall out of rhythm? When the door suddenly closed just as you were about to step through? When those you trusted turned away? When what you had hoped for came to an abrupt halt? You called it interruption, but I call it sacred purification. I have been removing from you what is not authentic, those things that once helped you survive in the old season, but would become burdens in the new one. Each time I allow an unexpected challenge, I am stripping away layers of pretense illusions you once wore to protect your ego. The refining season is the process of purification. I place you in the heat of doubt, of waiting, of misunderstanding, to separate the impurities from the pure essence. That is when I see what truly belongs to your nature and what is merely the borrowed garment of the world. So do not fear the seasons that feel empty. In that stillness I am reshaping your soul so that when light shines upon you, you will not reflect falsehood, but radiate the most genuine brilliance. And when the refining is complete, you will no longer merely survive. You will shine like precious metal forged through fire, defined not by what you lost, but by what you have become. Let me lift the lids off what you have built by your own strength. Let yourself feel the lack so you may return to the place where you realize you need me more than anything else. That is when I begin to bind your heart to mine. I have seen every tear that fell in silence. You thought I was silent too, but in truth I was speaking through that silence. When your heart broke, it was then that I sowed seeds of grace deep into the soil of your soul, clearing the ground so miracles could take root. Often I do not give you what you ask for because I am preparing what you have never imagined. When a door closes, I am shifting the wind. When you feel lost, I am leading you onto the path of your true destiny. Do not fear the wilderness, for that is where I release the hidden springs of grace. When you are in the season of difficulty, know that there I am driving your roots deeper, so when you rise, no wind will uproot you. Grace is never a given. It often arrives in silence, in delay, in waiting. It is a gift only the patient soul can unwrap. Keep your heart steadfast in the faith that every moment of struggle is never meaningless. When you are chosen, you are not exempt from the fire. Every great witness of Scripture, Joseph, Moses, David, passed through the refining season. They were imprisoned, exiled, misunderstood. Yet in those very trials, their hearts were shaped, their missions defined, and their promises confirmed. I want you to understand, when you are tested by fire, do not ask, "Why me?" but "Who are you shaping me to become?" Let me use the trials to prune your weakness, to forge your faith, to prepare you to stand firm when the storms arise. Even in this modern age, you can see that this divine law still operates. Before one is lifted up, they must first endure the season of misunderstanding, testing, and humility. The artist is often mocked before the world recognizes their gift. The true leader must taste betrayal to learn to lead with compassion instead of pride. The servant is overlooked and despised, yet one day when the light shines, the world will realize that those humble hands built the greatest works. This is not only their story, it is the pattern by which heaven works in your life. No glory endures unless it passes through the furnace of humility and endurance. For praise that comes too early can corrupt the soul, but my silence refines you until you are strong enough to carry true glory. Therefore, when you are despised, remember a pearl is not formed in light, but in the darkness of a closed shell. When you are misunderstood, know that I am carving in you a depth that those who live hurried lives will never possess. And one day, when I open the door, the world will see that what they once despised is the very light they have been searching for. When you persevere and do not step back, I, myself, will make you a witness of grace in this world. And when the appointed time comes, you will not ascend to your place because of human applause, but because my own hand will lift you up beautifully, precisely and in perfect timing. In nature, you never see a tree bear fruit too soon. It needs its season of planting, its season of sprouting, its season of deep nourishment. If you force it to fruit too early, the fruit will be small, sour, or die. Heaven works the same way. Positioning never comes too early, never too late, but only at the moment when your heart has been fully prepared. You may walk through a hidden season, working quietly, deepening your roots, mending the cracks within your soul. But when the time arrives, I will open the door, bring you into the light, and set you in the place for which you were chosen. Do not lose heart when you do not yet see dramatic change. Sometimes what seems small to you, a book written, a heart healed, a word of forgiveness spoken, is the very beginning of transformation. Trust in my timing. Do not compare your path to another's. Every person has their own season, their own rhythm. You need only to be faithful in yours. When the moment comes, everything will unfold, and you will understand that you were never late, only waiting for the time I had appointed. As you draw nearer to your moment of positioning, you will notice subtle yet unmistakable signs. You will no longer crave validation but peace. You will prefer silence over self-defense. You will find forgiveness easier because you know I forgave you first. You will walk not by the crowd's direction but by the inner guidance of my spirit, even when the road is less traveled. That is the sign of divine positioning. You no longer strive to prove yourself, but simply stand where you are meant to be. When you know you are established by heaven, the absence of applause will not shake you. For your confidence rests not on man's praise, but on my spoken word. Look deeper, my child, into what seems paradoxical in your journey. When others twist your story, manipulate perception, or rewrite truth for their own gain, heaven does not stand still. The realms above immediately realign as an unseen hand redirects the flow of time to protect the sacred core within you. Sometimes the pace of your life slows doors that seemed ready suddenly close, and you call it delay. But I call it divine security, heavenly encryption protecting your inheritance. Heaven never allows the legacy of the chosen to be misplaced. Every plan you thought was broken is in truth being recalibrated to match the frequency of destiny. Every delay you feel is not punishment but protection. In those pauses, I pull you away from paths that could sabotage your future. And though you do not yet see the full picture, I tell you this: you are not falling behind, you are being moved to the forefront. For when the time ripens, what was once restrained will be released with multiplied speed and power. Those who thought they controlled your story will stand astonished, realizing that heaven has quietly rewritten the script and placed you at its center. When you step into the place I have appointed, your life will take on a different rhythm. You will yield to my hand more than your own effort. You will understand that failure is never final, for you are established upon the rock of grace. You will live for the mission I have entrusted to you, offering not just talent but your heart, serving not for recognition but for love that flows from heaven itself. I know this journey is not gentle. When you are positioned in light, darkness will respond with envy, with resistance through those unsettled by your transformation. But do not fear, for such opposition is proof that the light within you is shining true. Remember, divine positioning always comes with testing. Let the eyes of disapproval become witnesses to the spiritual resurrection I am performing in you. When you stand where heaven has placed you, every opposition will become testimony to the power of new life flowing through you. I will raise you up as a hand to lift others. You will become living evidence that grace refines shapes and strengthens the soul for stability and purpose. Those buried under confusion and despair will look at you and see hope restored. I did not allow you to suffer merely to survive. I allowed it so you would become a healer. Every step you take, every life you touch will release salvation's fragrance into the world. Therefore, my child, do not be ashamed of your scars. They are my signature upon your life, the proof that grace does not destroy but redefines you for a greater purpose. My child, you have now heard the call from heaven, an invitation to look back upon your journey, not with the eyes of the flesh, but with the eyes of the Spirit. Every obstacle, every harsh season, every moment that seemed to fade into despair, I was there. When you walk through the season of refining, you will understand that you were not chosen because you were strong, but that I have forged you to become strong. When you find your divine position, you will know that it is not grounded in your merit, but in the grace you have received. And the harvest season shall come not with noise, but with glory. When I open the season of harvest in your life, you will see before you the fruits of faith, perseverance, and faithfulness. Doubt will have no place in security, no shadow, only the radiance of my light spreading forth. Receive the grace, my beloved child. Step out from the darkness of doubt and from the weight of having to prove yourself, for you have been chosen, appointed, and established by me in heaven's appointed time. Rise up not by the fragile strength of your own hands, but by the spiritual power now at work within you. Do not search for strength in weary arms or fading zeal. Find it in my eternal source of life, where the river of grace never runs dry. For I did not create you to collapse in the storm, but to take root deep within it. Live as a tree deeply rooted in the soil of heaven, your roots anchored in love and faith in absolute trust. The wind may shake you, but it cannot uproot you. The storm may roar, but it cannot break you. Every trial only drives your roots deeper, strengthens your trunk, and widens your branches. For a tree does not fear the wind when it knows its roots draw from the fountain of life, and so it is with you when you know you are rooted in grace. You will no longer tremble before the tempest. I speak to you, my child, do not run from the storm, but stand firm within it, for there you will see my protection. It is there that you will learn true strength, does not come from striving, but from surrender. When you cease struggling to survive, you will begin to be lifted by my power, and when people ask how you still stand, you will smile and say, my roots are anchored in the soil of grace where nothing can be shaken. My beloved, engrave this truth upon your heart, as if upon stone. You are not alone in this battle. Every time you think you fight alone, I am beside you, guiding your steps, aligning your decisions, and renewing your spirit with the breath of my spirit. I have never left you, not for a single heartbeat. Even when you are weary, when your faith trembles, I cover you with a peace that the world cannot comprehend. I know there are times you feel you are moving against the current, that every gaze around you is filled with doubt, every word with disbelief. But remember, faith is not measured by the number of those who agree, but by your endurance when no one stands beside you. When you choose to trust me in the desert of uncertainty, the heavens will open and grace will pour forth. The day will come when those who doubted you will look back and see the mark of heaven upon your life. They will realize that there is something within you that cannot be extinguished, buried, or forgotten. For it is not your own work, but a heavenly seed sown by my hand, watered by your tears, and nourished by my grace. Continue walking forward, not with fear, but with the peace of one who knows they are protected. For what heaven has planted within you, no force can bury, and what I have begun in you, I will bring to completion until the day of glory. My child, understand this deeply. Heaven's grace does not always wear a gentle robe. Sometimes grace arrives not in dazzling miracles, but clothed in loss, in silence, in days that seem uneventful. You see emptiness and call it absence, but I see a space cleared for something greater to enter. Grace is sometimes the slowing of your hurried plans to keep you from running off the appointed path. It is the timely no that saves you from unseen consequences. It is heaven's silence, not because I am indifferent, but because I am working in depths that words cannot reach. My child, do not give thanks only when everything goes well. Learn to recognize grace even in adversity. For there are blessings wrapped in pain, protection hidden within solitude, and victories being sown in the soil of disappointment. What you call lost today may very well be the key that unlocks your destiny tomorrow. So when you face loss, whisper to yourself, perhaps this is grace in a form I do not yet understand. When you hear silence, remember heaven is not silent, heaven is at work. And when you must wait, believe that within the delay lies a perfect timing that I am arranging for you. Engrave this truth upon your heart. Those who are chosen must walk through fire, for their calling cannot be built upon comfort, but only upon refinement. The fire does not come to destroy you, but to strengthen your soul, to burn away fear, weakness, and pretense, making room for what is true purity, strength, and unshakable faith. No one who is called to great things walks an easy path. Every burn, every fall, every trial that feels beyond your endurance is a lesson of fire, a moment in which I am forging within you a supernatural resilience. For only souls who have stood in the fire and not been consumed can carry a flame strong enough to illuminate others. I know your heart has been shattered by the things you once cherished slipping from your grasp. You have looked at what was lost without seeing that I was saving you from a danger you could not perceive. Many times, what you called opportunity was merely a detour in disguise, and what you called relationship was a distraction dressed as blessing. I had to let those doors close not to harm you, but to preserve the sacred path I have prepared for you. You have wept over the opportunities that vanished, the people you longed for, and the things that left you behind believing you were abandoned. But in truth, I was moving you out of harm's way. For I know that some things appear beautiful yet carry the seed of destruction, and some smiles conceal intentions meant to dim your light. Do not look at loss with human eyes, see it through the eyes of faith. I have not taken anything truly yours. I have only removed what was out of harmony with your destiny, so that you may discern what is worth keeping and what must be released. And when you truly let go, I will place in your hands what is right, the thing you will not need to fight for it has been ordained for you since the beginning. Therefore, do not cling to what I have taken away. Every loss today is a quiet act of heaven's protection. You will understand when the light comes that I have never taken from you anything good. I have only made space for what is more perfect, more sacred, and truly yours. Nothing in the universe moves at random. Every motion, even the most silent one, rests in my hand. When people whisper behind your back, when they plot to dim your light, thinking no one sees, heaven already knows. Every impure motive, every hidden plan conceived in darkness is laid bare before me, and nothing escapes the governance of heaven. I have intervened long before you realized you were hurt. I redirected your path, shielded you from those unworthy to walk beside you, and slowed down what you thought were delays, but they were protections in disguise. For there are some who, if allowed to go further, would damage the destiny I am building within you. So when something or someone cannot continue the journey with you, do not weep, do not plead, do not hold on. It is not loss. It is heaven's decree separating you from what no longer aligns with the light. I am moving you out of danger, clearing the path for divine connections, people, opportunities, and missions that will walk with you toward the fulfillment of my purpose. Do not fear when everything changes, for I am the one rearranging all things around you to harmonize with your heavenly destiny. And in time, when you look back, you will see nothing was taken away, only what was false was removed, so that truth and grace might reign. Remember this: my child, favor always stirs envy. When I place a special anointing upon you, it does not come to make you loved by all. It comes to ensure you cannot be ignored. You are not called to please the multitude, but to awaken their souls. And that calling will often make you different, and yes, misunderstood. Do not be surprised, my child, when your kindness is doubted, or when your success unsettles others. They cannot see the nights you spent in prayer, nor hear the whispers of your soul in silence. They do not know that everything you have comes not from calculation, but from surrender. When grace is at work, others will sense the difference, even if they do not understand its source. And what they do not understand, they often fear. Therefore, when envy rises against you, see it as evidence that grace is moving. When you are misunderstood, smile, for it is confirmation that you are walking the right path. You were not called to make the crowd comfortable, but to awaken them. Understand this: intuition and spiritual discernment are weapons I have placed within you, silent yet sharper than any sword of the world. When you walk in my light, you do not merely see with your eyes. You perceive with the Spirit, recognizing what lies beneath the surface of what appears obvious. Spiritual intuition is heaven's gentle warning before the storm, the inner whisper before words reach your ears. It enables you to distinguish between what seems right and what truly comes from me, between those sent to build and those sent to use. Do not take this intuition lightly, for it is the sacred compass that keeps you steady when every map of the world fails. When you train your heart in stillness, you will hear more clearly. When you keep it pure, you will see farther. And when you learn to trust that inner voice, the voice of my Spirit within you, no force can deceive or mislead you. For spiritual intuition is not emotion. It is the light of discernment, the weapon of the awakened, and the defense of the chosen. Cherish this weapon, sharpen it through prayer, use it in love. And as you walk with your spiritual vision expanded, you will not only avoid the traps set before you, but also perceive the gates of heaven opening ahead, even before others see them. Stand firm in faith. Grace will announce the chosen and lift them beyond limits. When heaven's appointed time arrives, no slander can stop it, no door can remain closed against what heaven has decreed to reveal. You do not need to promote yourself or fight for position, for grace is heaven's own voice in your life. It will accomplish what human effort never could. Grace has its own way of exalting you gently, yet surely, quietly, yet undeniably. It does not come through display, but through silent preparation and steadfast faithfulness. And when grace announces you, it is not merely to make you seen, but to make the light within you visible, that the world may know a divine hand is at work. Believe this, my child, no one can take what heaven has appointed for you. When your season comes, grace will draw you out from obscurity, open the mouths of the silent to speak good of you, and swing wide doors that once slammed shut. You need not prove yourself, you need only remain faithful. For grace not only writes your name in heaven's register, but also positions you for breakthrough, where destiny is activated and promises are fulfilled. And when that moment comes, all will know it was not you who lifted yourself, but heaven that raised you with its own hand. Do you not know, my child, that you carry a spiritual weight the world cannot ignore? It is not the weight of ego, but the gravity of calling the glory of heaven entrusted within your soul. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere shifts, not because you seek attention, but because the light within you stirs everything around you. You are the kind of person whose mere presence unsettles false systems. The authenticity within you is a mirror that terrifies those who dwell in shadow. You do not need to expose anyone. The light within you will naturally reveal what is true and what is false. That is why you are sometimes misunderstood, opposed, or treated as a threat, because light always unsettles darkness. But my child, do not hide your light simply because others cannot bear it. You were not made to blend in, you were made to reveal. When you stand in the place I have appointed, your light will not only shine, it will purify, awaken, and call forth truth in others. Remember, the weight within you is not meant to crush, but to anchor you in heaven's purpose. Your presence is a living testimony that heaven is still moving upon the earth. And as you continue to walk in humility and power, all that is false will bow before the truth you carry. From this moment onward, every person who enters your life must come with a reverent preparation of spirit and heart. No one is permitted to touch your life carelessly, for you no longer belong to fleeting relationships or shallow connections. You carry within you the seal of divine selection, and that requires honor in equal measure. Those who are chosen do not lower their worth to make others feel comfortable. Light does not have to dim itself so that eyes accustomed to darkness can bear its brightness. Likewise, you do not need to shrink to fit the limits others place upon you. Humility does not mean making yourself small. It is knowing your value while keeping your heart soft. Remember this, you were born to be cherished. You are not a challenge for someone to conquer, but a blessing for someone to treasure. You are not a test of another's patience, but a living testimony of heaven's grace. When you stand in your rightful place, the right souls will recognize you, not because you seek them, but because the light within you will call them forth. And my child, never underestimate the adversary. I do not tell you this to make you fearful, but to keep you alert. For darkness never sleeps when light begins to shine. The greater the grace, the greater the opposition, the higher the calling, the subtler the trials. But do not forget, I have already equipped you with every spiritual weapon you need to stand and to overcome. The adversary does not always appear in obvious form. Sometimes he hides behind compliments and compromise, or in harmless-seeming distractions that slowly drain your soul. He does not always roar. Sometimes he whispers, making you doubt the light within yourself. That is why I urge you to guard your heart and mind, for the true battlefield lies not outside, but within every thought you allow to take root. Do not ignore the small deceptions. A single crack in the heart can become an entryway for darkness. Stay alert and prayerful. Do not let confidence turn into pride. The enemy is cunning. He watches, he studies, he waits. But my child, those who are awake cannot be ambushed, for my spirit within you discerns every scheme before it unfolds. Therefore, when you face opposition, do not panic, discern, and prepare. Do not underestimate the enemy, but do not magnify his power either. Simply stand firm in truth and in light, for darkness cannot overcome those who know who they are in me. You do not fight for victory, you fight from victory, for your triumph was sealed long before the battle began. I say this not merely to comfort you, but to affirm your true identity in me. You are loved not because of what you do, but because you belong to me. You are chosen out of countless souls. I called your name, and that call cannot be revoked. You are positioned not too early, not too late, but in the precise season heaven has ordained, so that your light may rise and your purpose may be fulfilled. And my beloved, you shall reap a mighty harvest. Every seed you have sown in tears will blossom into glory. Every quiet prayer will become a song of victory. Every season of trial will transform into a season of grace, peace, and divine power. Believe and move forward without hesitation, without fear, without looking back. For I go before you, and my light surrounds you. As you advance, the darkness will fade away, and everything that once opposed you will become the very steps that lift you higher. Rise, child of light, live, shine, and return to your sacred origin, for you are the chosen one. May the word of the Lord continually remind you to live each day in his faith and love. Subscribe and turn on the bell, so you will not miss the sacred and meaningful messages he desires to share with you. May the Lord bless you richly. Amen.